All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pleb Underground live from Tabconf. And got myself over here, co-host Sir Ulrich, and we've got possibly the most controversial figure, the most controversial Bitcoin Core dev to date.
I like JPEGs.
So who are we actually talking to? Because I've been told at this point that you're approximately 7 different people. Okay, so first we'll back up. We have Shinobi over here, but apparently Shinobi is multiple people. What is happening?
I don't know at this point. Am I Adam Back? Am I Greg Maxwell? Am I Luke? Who am I? How did I get here?
What I just want to know. So look, I want to back it up. The story. What the hell happened? Like I don't understand what happened. If you can give your version of what happened.
Adam retweeted an article I wrote, and the only rational explanation is clearly I took complete control over Adam's Twitter account.
Why would Adam retweet Shinobi? Like, obviously, like you had to have hacked Adam's account, obviously.
It's ridiculousness. Okay, but let's in all seriousness though, right? I definitely want. I mean, I've listened to your thoughts several times. Obviously, right? Spend time in spaces, listening to you tell people off and stuff, and I just need to know, right? What exactly is your stance? Like, I don't actually think you are necessarily a quote unquote, because I don't even think that even exists. I don't even think core supporter exists. I just think that the framing is wrong. So what are your thoughts on that? Is the framing wrong?
There is literally nothing you can do to stop people from embedding arbitrary data on chain in some way. It is like giving somebody a pen and paper and telling yourself there is some way to stop them from drawing whatever the fuck they want. Like it's not practically possible. Like what are you going to do? Follow them around 24/7 for the rest of their lives and physically stop them from drawing the thing you don't want them to do? It's not possible. Like this whole debate is just a group of people who have a perfectly understandable emotional reaction that people are doing a dumb thing with Bitcoin that it was not intended to support, and just being completely unwilling to accept the fact that there is technically nothing you can do to stop it. If people want to pay money to do dumb things, like this system cannot be made like it cannot be designed in a way where it's impossible to do those dumb things. It's just not informationally, theoretically possible.
So I was trying to figure out how to frame this question. What are your damn it, brain fart. Why do you think that nobody is, and this is the thing I find the most difficult, right? This is where I have a hard time doing the mental gymnastics to come to this point, but like, why is it that people are opting out of actually reading about the mempool policy and how it works? Because you've written a lot of articles on it. I mean, like I follow your account, obviously, and I read a lot of the articles that you write, and especially when you most recently, I believe that you, in the last few months, you definitely wrote at least 1 or 2 articles discussing mempool policy in detail. And for some reason, I find that like this content, even though this is the real content in my eyes, like this is the content that explains what is happening, I feel like there's resistance. Like what do you think it is? Is it people just want to feel good about what they think, or
it's just pure tribalism and emotional reactions? And like the ironic thing is, like, everything I've written on the subject, like the core of that work, is just purely objective analysis. Like, I'm not giving my opinion on anything. I'm not in any way discussing what should or shouldn't happen, or what this was designed for, like what it wasn't designed for. It is just a pure descriptive, like, this is how this mechanistically works. And people just have the immediate knee-jerk reaction of, no, I'm not reading that. Like, this is purely an emotional thing. This is, I don't want this to be the case. I want the world to be different than it is. It's not. And it really is just that simple.
What do you think of, and I don't know if you've spoken to Matt Hill yet and gotten his take on this, but essentially he believes that this, the TLDR of it is that he believes that this whole discussion shouldn't be taking place at the Bitcoin core level. Like this should be a discussion, right? The mempool policy specifically for nodes, right? That it should be at a higher level, right? At the node level, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
That's retarded.
Oh, okay.
That's like saying that the passengers in the airplane should be like deciding like what the tensile strength of like the hinges on the wing flaps should be so that you can actually control your altitude and speed. Like, no, people who are riding the airplane are fucking morons. They're not fucking aerospace engineers. They have no fucking actual grasp on an engineering level. Like, that's retarded. Like, these types of things are handled by experts who actually understand what's going on here. And then the user is given the ultimate backstop choice. Do I run that software or do I not? Like, if you want to like do what you're doing with knots, if this is an issue, go run a different piece of software. People who are organizing that piece of software, they can manage that however they want. They can make those decisions however they want. But as somebody who has a pretty deep grasp of the system, no, I do not think that we should be making engineering choices based on the votes or whims of mobs of morons. Like that is retarded.
Oh, so maybe hold on a second. I may have explained it. I may have explained it wrong. So he's essentially what he was essentially saying was that, like, you know, there'd be like Bitcoin Core, which is like the kernel, right, which deals with all the consensus, but then
the essential doctrines of what the software is.
So like a post like kernel project being completed,
and then the individual node would just simply deal with its own
filtration,
its own filtration and mempool policy, right? So the user could configure it.
There'd be a basket of.
I don't know if your answer's still the same, but I just wanted to frame it better.
It's still like completely retarded to leave that as just like a let users debate and decide this. Like, if you are going to implement different peering logic, a different transport protocol, there should be an actual utilitarian reason for that. Like, this is meeting some need. Like for instance, like somebody who's running a node in the middle of North Korea. Like, they have no internet access. Like, you're going to need something like, and this is pushing like the extremes of absurd for the example. But like you would need something like a radio relay to actually get a transaction across. So yes, like have a piece of software that is capable of receiving and transmitting transaction data over a radio relay to some other bridge who can receive that and get that to the wider network. Like, that is a utility-based reason for designing a different peering system, transport system. But just, I don't like what other people are doing with their Bitcoin, so I'm going to rework my entire relay and transport layers
to ignore them,
stop that, or ignore. Like, that's
because really that's
retarded.
What's happening. They're not stopping it; they're just ignoring it. To my knowledge,
it's completely retarded. It is woke, feel-good nonsense that accomplishes nothing except give you a sense of moral superiority while you accomplish nothing. It's retarded.
You know, I want to take a probably a grand step back, and maybe it's a simplistic review, but this opportune debate seems to present Bitcoin as not simply a monetary network, but more so a type of database, a decentralized database.
No, and core developers like statement that a large number of them signed off on, like addressing how they're going to handle mempool policy, explicitly say this is not some endorsement of these other use cases for block space. This is not some acknowledgement that Bitcoin should be used for these other things. It's an acceptance of the reality that you cannot stop it. So we are going to remove friction from the least harmful way that this thing can be done, that you cannot ultimately stop. It is harm mitigation.
Let me have a follow-up on that one, because it's like, let's just say that the knots path was fleshed out. What is the harm of, again, the core says, hey, you can have this arbitrary data in this place in the opportune. What is the counter position? If the opportune wasn't available, where is the harmful data going to go, and what's the repercussions of that?
Well, I think like a really important nuance to draw here is like there are two types of reasons you could want to do something that is not standard by policy relay. You just want to get it into a block, in which case like filters have zero impact. It will get in a block no matter what. And then there are other reactive layer 2 systems where you are essentially building a challenge response protocol that you lock money into. And as long as one person or both parties are honest, like that can just be cut through and simply settled. But if a party tries to act dishonestly, like that's kind of staging transactions, starting the challenge response needs to be visible by the other party so that they can issue their response to that challenge and, you know, settle things correctly, penalize them, whatever the design of that specific system is. Those types of situations, it's not just getting it into a block. You want it to propagate across the network as quickly and widely as possible.
Which filters get in the way.
So the other party sees it as quickly as possible and can respond quickly. Filters do create friction there, which is where Citria came into this whole thing. Instead of just using op returns, because they need it to propagate very quickly so everyone can see it and people can respond in that second layer protocol as fast as possible. Well, it's stopping the propagation. So they were just sticking the data, or they're going to, in unspendable outputs.
That does bloat the UTXO set.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like just the important nuance of like, are you trying to propagate this as quickly as possible in addition to getting confirmed, or just getting confirmed? Like there is a marginal impact that's not stopping it getting into a block. In that first case, you want it to propagate widely. And so if that's your primary concern, you will just do other more damaging things. And the entire reason for removing this filter is so that in that second scenario, when you have to have it propagate quickly, in addition to being confirmed, we aren't creating these incentives to do more damaging things like unspendable outputs. It's just mitigating harm and removing a incentive to do more harmful things.
Okay, we got some obviously got some comments right coming in here. So Seed says, can you please ask Shinobi if he has played the new Shinobi video game, and if he'd recommend it? What is that? If he'd recommend, what is it? Oh yeah, and if you'd recommend it. Sorry, there was somebody else that was asking about a centralized ID, I guess.
I haven't played a video game in over a year, and my PlayStation is crying at me every night.
All right, so we got through that one. Okay, Mr. Business said Shinobi, too bad because that's not how markets work. I guess that was from a comment that you made a few minutes ago, but that's okay. There's more stuff here. Okay, ACP is saying, so he's saying, you're saying it's the less of two evils argument, the lesser of two evils?
Yes.
In general, right? Yeah.
You are going to deal with it one way or another.
No matter what.
Less harmful.
Yeah. And I can understand that. Also, we've had this, I mean, I've spoken to Portland many times, right? And we understood that if things are left the way they are, then this now pushes things towards minor centralization, because now all of a sudden people they know that they can just go directly to those miners to get them to put in those transactions. So it's mitigating that as well.
Yeah, and a user's not going to have any incentive to go to a miner with like 2% of the hash rate to try and do these out of band things.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the miner with 10, 20,
they're going to pay the fee.
And only those larger miners are going to earn extra revenue from this.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on. Mr. Business then said, okay, we're going to remove, here we go. Okay, so he says we're going to remove the friction to invite more op return spam so that people can continue using inscriptions in the witness data. Brilliant.
All right, dude, I don't know what else to say except did you listen to anything I said at all in like the last 10 minutes? Like,
but this is always what happens, right? Like this is, and this is the difficulty of this whole entire debate.
It's
it really
the Chris
is.
Guida effect.
What is that?
When you get an answer to a question that you forget 15 seconds later, so you ask why no one answered the question yet.
Okay, and curious minds, I guess, want to know, does Shinobi have a girlfriend? They're trying to get clarity on that one.
I thought I was an incel.
Okay, this
This
is
is
this is an
breaking down.
interesting one. Okay, here we go. This is an interesting one. What are your thoughts on Spaces protocol?
Those spaces.
I actually am a huge fan of that. If you're unfamiliar
Yeah,
with
I'm
it,
totally
it's
unfamiliar.
essentially a layer 2 without any native token or anything that's taking Namecoin essentially and doing it the right way. Like strictly a layer 2. There's no token. There's no like payment or revenue to the development team or anything. It's just a completely open, decentralized namespace protocol. And I think the way that that's designed is incredibly solid. It's very robust. It's kind of rate limited so that you can't have everyone swoop in and get all the big domains at once. I think it's only like 10 domains, top level domains a day that can be registered through an auction process that happens on chain. All of the final like auction winners funds are burned to op return, so like nobody gets those. Like there's no rent seeker in the middle of it, and you can delegate off-chain subdomains. And once a top level domain owner has given you a subdomain, at any point you can settle that on chain and effectively make it its own top level domain. So there's no way for like a subdomain to be like yanked out of somebody's control by the top level domain owner. It's just well done protocol.
Very interesting.
Domain protocol.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it's probably not the same thing, but it's kind of reminiscent to me of like BitDNS. Probably not the same thing though. Similar, yeah.
Yeah, it's just done like all of the second layer like subdomain proofs are done with zero knowledge proofs client side and no token. So there's no shitcoin for no reason. You don't need.
I think that's the right way to do it. I mean, so much stuff, as you know, it doesn't need a token. Oh, here's one of your favorite fans, the angry Chihuahua, is saying there's not enough demand. There's not enough demand for that crap to create minor centralization. All right, Dieter. Well, that's your response. I mean, I don't think. Okay, so this is the other thing, right? This is one of the arguments that I find. This whole thing about like essentially the JPEG data providing a floor for fees. Like, I feel like, I mean, I get that it may do that at times, but it seems a bit like a cop out. Like, I don't think, to me, like that's not a. I don't know, man. I don't feel like that's a valid argument. You know, I just feel like that's a.
I mean,
hey,
I think
we're doing this.
It's
You know?
definitely
What are your
not going to
thoughts?
be something that's consistent, like
Yeah.
nonstop. But it is a buyer of last resort in some ways of block space. Like they will fill in when we hit kind of the bottom of the fee rate. But I don't think it'll ever be a constant thing. Like we've seen at least 4 cycles of this type of like hype nonsense. Like it's cyclical. Big FOMO blow off tops, and there's no real sustained markets for these things. They just hype and go through those hype cycles. And like any type of arbitrary data use that could form a fee floor like that, it needs to be something utility based. Like that's not speculative, not just degens gambling. Like it's just something people gain value from that needs to be posting data constantly and like not gambling. Like that's the only way I see some type of arbitrary data use actually being a consistent like price floor for fees like that.
I have a question. So with this divide in implementations of Bitcoin software, what do you see as the most pressing risk? Not the greatest, not the most likely, but like a combination of that in terms of like, hey, this is the most realistic risk we're facing from these people that are very staunchly core, staunchly not. What's a likely risky outcome from that?
This is what I would do if I was a spook and just trying to cause systemic problems. Because on the not side, this has like long ago departed any type of technical, logical argument. It's purely vindictive character attacks against core developers. That is the type of thing that will scare people away from contributing, like could potentially burn out existing developers. We don't have enough developers as it is. Like one of the biggest kind of existential threats right now that isn't like regulation related or anything like that is just a lack of developers who are like competent and knowledgeable enough to actually work at that core protocol layer. Like we need to be building more pipelines to pull in new people, to get people more interested, and structure ways for them to actually learn how all this works so they can take people's place over time. We don't need to be chasing them away, burning them out, and disincentivizing like new people from even trying to contribute.
And follow up on that, like what are your ideas for avenues to get more people involved, and what's a proper cadence or sequence in terms of replacing legacy developers for Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, at some point, if we don't really get enough of a velocity to have kind of a mentor apprentice type dynamic that really gets things rolling, like we need more structured educational stuff. Like Lisa, as awesome as Bitcoin plus is, she needs to calm down there and maybe go work back on base 58 for a while and actually have like a curriculum and educational content for developers. Like we need more organizations doing things like that and actually trying to like pull the deeper understanding out of like the big graybeard devs heads and get that recorded in a structured way so that it's there, we can pass that on, and we don't have this dynamic where it's like, well, go work with them on something or talk to them and like pick their brain is like the way to access that knowledge for the most part now.
It's so funny. I got to ask one more follow up on that.
Absolutely.
With my job, there's an issue of getting the knowledge of graybeards and into some sort of repository, into some sort of solution, which I actually work on, through my work, and that's beyond the point. My question is, in my world, we are working on that in terms of preserving information. What's the implementation? What's the strategy for that system, for that engineering preservation of knowledge? Is there something that the Bitcoin developers do right now, or is it literally just like mano a mano sharing, like in a personal way, direct way?
I mean, a lot of it is just informal discussions, like things on the mailing list, delving. I mean, it's out there. It's not like the secret guarded information that only the select few. Like, it's just not organized.
No
it's
GitHub
scattered
that's organized. Nothing like that. There's no organized GitHub. It's kind of out there. Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of one of the challenges, right, with open source and decentralization. I did want to go back though, and I'm curious, of course, what are your thoughts of soft fork or hard fork as a result of this divide that doesn't seem to be? I mean, because look, core version. Let's be honest, right? Core version 30 came out. Bitcoin's not dead, right? Or Bitcoin is dead. Long live Bitcoin, and it's alive again. So if you ask me, that's like. That kind of makes it so that this whole entire argument, this whole entire push, it was just kind of like for nothing. And now somebody's going to have to do something, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about somebody who aims to push development in a specific direction. I don't know. I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on possible soft fork or hard fork for this?
Well, maybe if they fuck off, we can actually get a conservative covenant activated. But if any of these idiots do a hard fork or an airdrop or anything, I will be sending my IRS tax bill to Mechanic and Luke because fuck you. Like, everybody probably forgot the IRS ruled that forks and airdrops are taxable events.
That did change. That's a good point. Oh, okay, hold on. We're getting another question here. Okay, so ACP is actually asking do you have any prediction on when the majority of the hash rate will upgrade to core version 30? So we're looking at miners possibly doing that.
I mean, when they get around to it, like I think there were some like RPC changes and stuff that like Francis from Bull Bitcoin has to rework some of Cypher nodes to account for that.
Lightning, I think.
Yeah,
something with Lightning payments.
It's a lot of the miners are already like tweaking policy and things like this on their own and already accept these transactions. I mean, it's like how fast they upgrade is kind of doesn't really matter at this point. It's more about the network and just like things being relayed widely.
So Before you mentioned Citria, and I'm just wondering, it doesn't sound to me like they actually need the filters to be removed.
No, they already designed
So-
everything to work in the place of those and use fake outputs anyway. This is not like we did this for Citria or anything like this. This is just recognizing this one project built this in a way that's more destructive. So let's fix this
Make it
now
less
so the
destructive.
next projects like don't do the same thing. Like they can use op return because like the policy has been changed and they won't have this problem in like challenge response protocols.
What do you have? Go ahead. Follow up.
Yeah, well, it was actually gonna. I was gonna go in a different direction now.
Okay, I did want to ask.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit of a tangent. It's a different direction as well. You know, I've known Shinobi for a few years. Shout out to the old Bitcoin magazine Telegram chat. And so for years, you know, we were sharing information. I learned so much from him and just a slew of people. It was a blessing to be a part of that group. And then you became the technical editor, and I think even further on, opinion editor for Bitcoin magazine. So what's going on now in your role there, and where do you see, like, what's your vision for, you know, the next cycle for, how do you see Bitcoin magazine maturing and growing under your leadership?
Well, I mean, kind of a little chaotic right now, and I don't think anyone will be surprised. I'm not excited at all about all this treasury company nonsense. But what I personally want to do is kind of start taking technical content back to the basics a little bit and not focus so much on the cutting edge or like bleeding edge of what's being built now, but like just go back to like the really foundational basics and just spell those out and kind of build out a robust set of content.
Raise the foundational knowledge.
Yeah, like that can sit there and
evergreen.
be useful for a long time to come, rather than just like the news cycle of like what's the new thing the autists are building.
Yeah, right on.
Okay, you're getting a question about Citria. Okay, yeah, of course, right? ACP is asking, Citria is going to use the fake outputs?
Yes, that's how everything's implemented currently.
Okay, cool. Damn it. Now I forgot the direction I was going to go in after my hard fork software question. Damn it.
People really
people get
like
mad,
you.
dude. Yeah.
Oh,
you got somebody else.
I like innately
like,
just
holy
piss people off with my existence.
Is it your voice?
I don't know.
I don't know. I got to tell you, the first time I ever heard him in Spaces, I was just like, he's mad. And I want to hear more. I want to hear more of why he's mad. You know, like that's what it is. Oh gosh. Okay, now I'm trying to get out of my brain fart and back to my question, because there was a follow-up question. I asked you about the hard fork software question. Damn it. Should have just cut you off, Ulrich. I suck. I suck. I know, I suck. Damn it.
Oh, what are the angry people angry about?
Well, okay, well, Dieter. So I can tell you right away. Dieter Bob, he says that you didn't address his question. No, there you go. Dieter, you should be able to translate that. Come on, man. Come on. But yes, my question to you, and then there was the Shinobi comments. Okay, then, all right. I'm going to ask this question, and hopefully I'm going to remember my question. But Curious Bitcoin is, oh, no, wait. Astro is asking, ask him when, let's see here. Okay, when he says we need organizations putting out more education, did he mean for developers to join the space, or just in general as all levels for everyone?
Specifically developers, like to be able to take like existing software developers who don't have any familiarity with distributed systems or Bitcoin, and just kind of fast track them through that type of stuff so that they can actually like start making low level or contributions to things like core
quality assurance and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, you got another question? Another question coming in here. What byte limit is acceptable for NOTS users where there was no noise to fork when core defaulted at 80? Now it seems NOTS wants 0 bytes and fork op return out. So he's asking, what is the acceptable limit for NOTS users?
I don't know. I have no insights into the minds of morons.
I knew it was going to.
Don't you want to be a king? Don't you want to be a king and tell people what to? No.
No.
Wait a second. That's not right. Everybody else wants to be king. Okay. Okay. So tell me this. What are your thoughts on ARC? Right? Because I'm seeing Francis Pulio putting out some interesting tweets that he's doing some testing. So there's like some beta wallets on it. I don't really know much about it. What are your thoughts on ARC? I think
It's a new layer 2, right?
Berg, yeah, it's a new layer 2, and I think Alex Berg is involved with them.
Yeah, he works for kind of ARC Labs in like a PM like PR position.
So is it, because I really don't understand much of it. So is it utilizing channels like Lightning, or is this like one of these bit VM type things where there's this like virtual? No, okay.
Like their implementation, Arcade, does include like some programmability stuff, but that's not part of ARC itself. That's like their own construction on top of it. I like kind of semantically, like the way ARC works is it's just creating like a virtual UTXO rather than a channel that you can update successively off chain. But just think of it like a tree of transactions coming from a single on-chain UTXO, multi-sigs all the way up until the leaves, where it's a 2 of 2 between the owner of that and the service provider coordinating the ARC.
That makes sense.
What the ARC provider can do is create another one of these trees while this one still exists. And by linking outputs from the second tree, like you create like a second branch that just makes a bunch of small UTXOs. The user in the first one can include that UTXO from the new ARC, in a pre-signed transaction, giving control to the provider. And so the trick here is, if the second ARC that doesn't make the payments that the user from the first one, if that never confirms, then the transaction the user in the first ARC used to sign over the funds to the operator can never be valid, because the input that it depends on in the second one was never created. So they still have control in the first one. And so you can guarantee like the payments, like using the ARC service provider as kind of the facilitator, is completely trustless and atomic. Either the payment happens or the provider never gains control of the other users or the first user's UTXO. So you just create like this rolling kind of swap dynamic where you can just trade off the UTXO completely off chain, no channel requirements. Like you can just give this to somebody. They don't have to have liquidity already open to them or anything like that.
So it's like, and I think now I'm starting to understand the term. So it's like child includes parent or something like that, essentially, right? So
it's more the parent includes like an input from a child transaction.
Oh, okay. So
and
the
if
reverse
that
of what I'm
second
thinking.
one is never created, then that transaction can never be used.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely have to read up more on ARC.
I have an article I wrote up on like a layer 2 series explaining different layer 2s on ARC. You should be able to find on Bitcoin Mag, like a quick, simple write-up.
Oh yeah, I'll take a look. We'll put it in the show notes. For the average person, right? Like I'm going to bring this down to the normie level. What like, how would how would you envision a normie would be leveraging the use of ARC? Because the way you're explaining it to me, I almost feel like this, I could see this. It's going to sound really stupid, but it's the only way I could see it. Like, I feel like this is almost like the answer to like credit and debit card networks. I don't know why, but it just seems to me like it allows that extra layer of flexibility.
I think ARC is going to wind up just being like a last mile kind of solution. Like all the big problems with the Lightning Network are between the end user and like whoever their peer is, like that last channel that the person sending and receiving money has to have, like the liquidity management issues around that. You can just do away with all of that, and a user can just have ARC UTXOs. And those can still atomically link with the Lightning Network. Like he can pay the ARC service provider, who then makes a Lightning payment on their behalf. And like vice versa, the provider can be paid over Lightning and then create an ARC UTXO for a user. And like the user doesn't have to think about like getting liquidity ahead of time or having a channel open to them ahead of time. The provider can just do that when they want to receive money. And like
Mhm.
when they want to make a payment, it can just go out through the Lightning Network and connect to whatever else it wants.
Okay.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
If it was follow-up, go ahead.
It's not a follow-up.
Okay.
We have another question.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Let me see that.
Okay. I think this is going to be a joke, though. I'm not really 100% sure.
I saw that one.
But
already. Yes.
Winston Alexander is asking, when you're tweeting as Adam's intern, who's the intern with Tourette's tweeting for you?
No comments. I haven't exactly gotten that approved yet.
Technology enables you to use multiple accounts at the same time, Winston.
I knew that this stream would end up like this. I'm actually surprised it's not slightly worse, but it's okay.
I've been shocked by some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Winston's
People really just want to give you shit.
Winston's leading the way in that one. Yeah. Just another very fundamental question for people who are looking at Bitcoin and discovering Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, but it's not as private as a layman would think. How is privacy ramping up over the last year, and how do you see privacy growing over the next year, cycle, whatever?
Privacy's pretty much been kicked in the dick repeatedly the last couple years, and it's in a very bad state. Lightning is a good tool just to have basic like privacy from who you're paying. Like it is not something that is gonna like keep a serious actor like the NSA or an ISP from being able to like surveil your payments, but like the person you're paying, it will shield your privacy very well from them. But other than that, like tools, all the pre-existing tools are very flawed. Like every one of them, like Join Market, Wasabi, Samurai, all of them are in some way flawed and have some way for a user's privacy to be degraded, the operator to de-anonymize them, and things like that. And it's just, there's not much work at this point outside of the PayJoin team and the PayJoin Foundation that was recently formed, actually working on improving that base layer privacy at this point. Like all the teams have just like given up or been arrested, like Keon and Will. And I'll be the first person to say fuck them, just for a whole list of reasons over the years. But like nothing they did in any way was illegal. Like those charges were bullshit.
You're talking about for Samurai? Oh yeah, it's insane. I've been following Lola.
Anyway. Like they were still pressured into risking 10 years or more in jail or taking a deal. Like this is a very serious issue right now, and we have been set back a long way because of how development of those things have gone over the last 5 years or so.
Is this not so? This goes back now, of course, to Knots versus Core, because I definitely
this is exponentially more important than any
exactly. But I'm saying, like, doesn't this kind of seem a bit like a psyop, so that we're like almost like
the distraction?
Yeah, like we're not paying attention to what actually matters, and instead we're dealing with this other thing that is made to seem like it's so important, but it's not.
Yes, it is the biggest distraction in the world. There are a million more important things than nonsense about JPEGs that we have to worry about. Mining centralization, privacy, and regulatory action against that. Like just the like everybody sees the price going up and ignores all the other signs and moves of hostility against us and this system. Like there are real fucking problems to deal with. Who gives a flying fuck that somebody put a JPEG of a fucking cat on chain?
What the hell happened?
Who fucking cares?
Well, I mean, it could be bull market dynamics, and I guess that was going to lead to my question. Do you think that that people's heads get screwed back on as the price goes down for 8 to 12 to 16 months?
I hope so, but
I mean, they say bear markets are for building.
At this point, I expect the stupidity to continue increasing.
I'm going to have to agree with that one as well, just because also something that we saw happen in the previous bear market is that all of these, or not all, but a good portion of people that have platforms, that have audiences, they themselves pivoted to a more sales oriented topics and stuff like that, rather than focusing on on privacy, rather than focusing on even something like Knots versus Core or mempool policy or any of the policies. And I can't disagree with you on this one. I genuinely feel a shift. I can even see it in, like I remember coming into the space, and some of the people that would become quote unquote influencers, they were given that, or they were enabled to do that because of their ability to explain these technical aspects very well, and that they were essentially able to help people be able to look at things clearly to make their own decisions. And now all of this seems to have gone out the window, and we're just like
trying to monetize their time in office.
That's it.
It's been 4 years.
Monetize your time in office.
Can I get chipped off a little bit?
Right? I don't know, man. So how do we get back? Like what do you think? I know it's kind of an open-ended question. There's no really right or wrong answer, but like I've thought about this myself. Like how do we get back to that point where people are actually interested in Bitcoin? And when I say people, I'm talking about the like that threshold of normie that could be really into Bitcoin, but instead they get sucked into the Bitcoin treasury world. How do we get back there? How do we get back to getting people excited?
I don't know if we do at this point. Like it's really
like, are we going to become these niche cave people?
Some deeper motivation or something people want to see accomplished in the world that Bitcoin can facilitate. Like just grabbing these people who come in just because they think the price is going to go up, but then they'll change their mind and want to learn all these things and care about, like, I don't think that's a viable path. Like we need to find people already motivated to like seek out some goal or change and show them how Bitcoin can facilitate that. Like we need to change who we are looking to motivate to dive in deeper differently. And like, it's not the type of people we've historically looked at and had success
and
with.
you have to remember, like, as Bitcoin grows in market cap, it also grows in population, and that population is going to dilute the people who came for the reasons that they came in 2014, who came for the reasons they came in 2018 or 21, whatever have you. And so it's like, now it has to be, now Bitcoin truly is not a community. And you have to kind of recognize those subcultures that happen to like Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is theoretically, like Shinobi said, a tangent or a side or a component of an overarching greater aim for that subculture's aim for humanity, I guess you could say.
Winston Alexander is saying ordinals came out in the bear market.
No, ordinals came out in 23, and at least that's when they got propped up. And by that time, I'm pretty sure we had shifted into the positive. The bull market started in January, January 23. So anything that, if it came out in 22, I stand corrected.
No, it started 23.
23, yeah. We were already going up.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But most people don't consider the bull market until like we blow off some crazy candle. The bull market is when you are upward.
Yeah.
3 years up, 1 year's down.
And the angry,
that's still real.
The angry Chi is just saying Bitcoin treasuries is just is bad as utility on Bitcoin.
He did mention
utility on Bitcoin is something we should all shoot for. But yes, treasury companies are fucking retarded.
Yeah. I think
define some utilities on Bitcoin, because some people like laugh at utility on Bitcoin. It sounds like cryptocurrency, sounds like Ethereum. What do you mean by utility?
Like open timestamps and just being able to prove the integrity at some point in time of votes, of government records, of anything important, like spaces, and the ability to anchor a decentralized DNS replacement on Bitcoin. Like there are a million utility-based non-monetary things that make shit tons of sense and create real value for people in the world. We should want those things. Like,
I was blown away by the guy that I think his name is Carlos, or I could be wrong.
Yeah, Carlino.
Yeah, Carlino. I mean, I was blown away by his use of open timestamps with the voting system. Like and of course we interviewed him and everything, and it was just absolutely incredible, right? Like there he is, no shitcoin, no nothing, came up with an idea, used it, presented it to government officials, and they're like, this is great. You know, this is something that helps keep all of us in line. So I was, very impressed by that.
Yeah.
And that's Peter Todd,
don't,
right?
Don't buy treasury companies.
Yeah.
Buy actual Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, treasury companies are a shitcoin. Okay, so yeah, the Angry Chi is saying, you're saying create real value because he's part of the VC shill team. Come
What VC
on,
shill
Dieter
team?
Bob. That's how we're ending it right there.
At the top of the hour.
Yeah, top of the hour. Okay, so look, Shinobi, man, we of course really appreciate you joining us here live today at Tabconf with Shinobi.
Live on scene.
Live on scene. Shinobi. Making everybody angry. Okay, guys, we're gonna go and try to find somebody that makes you less angry, but maybe makes you more confused. Okay, so stay tuned. We're gonna be back with another interview. Shinobi, if you want to shill your stuff because you are part of the VC shill machine, where can people find your stuff?
You can find me on Twitter, Brian_trolls with a Z, and all my writings available on bitcoinmagazine.com. Especially lately, I've been trying to do a lot of basic explainer series. So read or not, I guess.
Appreciate
The answer
it,
is to read.
Yeah, the answer is to read. No one's going to read it for you. All right, guys, we'll see you very soon.